Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's time for another Pokemon TCG live online match video. This is week number 57 of our series, and we're continuing to take a look at some of the new Pokemon from the Steam Siege expansion. I believe, now that I say that, I have to double check and see what Pokemon, or what expansion this Pokemon is from, but I did have a suggestion from last week. A viewer by the name of Lightning Militons has mentioned something about Genesect-EX. Now, we will take a look at Genesect-EX in a deck that I have called Genesecticide, which sounded cool in my head, and maybe it still sounds cool? I don't know. Let's take a look at the deck that I have assembled. Are you Steam Siege? No, your Fates collide, actually. And do I have any Steam Siege cards in here? I don't know. But this was a suggestion from a viewer, and I liked the idea of it. What we will say here is, first of all, let's take a look at Genesect-EX. Now, ability, we'll talk about that in a moment, but the Rapid Blaster for 3 metal energy does 100 plus. Discard as many metal energy attached to this Pokemon as you like. This attack does 20 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. In the expanded format, this works out really well with Bronzong. Let me see here. Take off the filters right here. With the Metal Link's ability, once during your turn, you may attach a metal energy card from the discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So what you can do is cycle 2 Genesect-EX around, have the active one discard all the energy, or at least say like 3 or 4, using that, I've already forgotten, Rapid Blaster? Yes, so it can, just discard all that energy. However many Bronzong you have on your bench, you can then, on your next turn, attach 1 metal energy per Bronzong to the bench Genesect-EX, retreat the active one, and the active one, or the new active one, can now use its attack and discard 4 energy again. So, in expanded format, that works great. However, Lightning Militons has asked, how can we make this work in a standard legal deck? Because, of course, that Bronzong is not standard anymore. So let's take a look at what I've assembled here. It's kind of a crazy out there strategy, but that's kind of what I try to specialize in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time you're going to see my decks are not consistent or competitive, but they are fun, and that's what I play the game for. So, as I've said, the Rapid Blaster is right there. Genesect-EX also has an ability called Drive Change. Once during your turn, you may put a Pokemon tool card attached to this Pokemon into your hand. That's what I really like, is you can cycle different tools around. Pretty cool, whatever you want to, like whatever the situation calls for, you can remove whatever tool it has, put a proper one on, and make use of that. So I've got 2 Genesect-EX in the deck. One happens to be the full art. Very cool. And what we're going to do is, for the most part, I'm going to try to make use of Magnezone. And I've used this before. So the Magnezone says the ability is Magnetic Circuit. As often as you like during your turn, before your attack, you may attach a lightning energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, Thunder Blast does damage. Ignore that. Magnezone is mostly here just for the ability, because if we can attach multiple lightning energy per turn to the Genesect-EX, we're going to power up Rapid Blaster in a way. Now, of course, it takes metal energy to use that. However, we can put this basically just energy acceleration for Magnezone. 2 of those in the deck. We got 1 Magneton and 3 Magnemite. Now you'll notice that I have Rare Candy in here to help evolve into Magnezone. We'll talk about that when we get to the trainer cards. So let's say I have attached multiple lightning energy thanks to Magnezone's Magnetic Circuit, and Magnezone-EX is now sitting there with a couple of lightning energy attached. That is where Smeargle comes in from the Breakthrough expansion. The second code ability, once during your turn, you may switch a basic energy card attached to your active Pokemon with a different type of basic energy card from the discard pile. So, Magnezone is going to allow you to attach multiple lightning energy. After you've used the Rapid Blaster once, you've lost some metal energy. However many Smeargle you have on your bench will allow you to swap lightning energy from your Genesect-EX with the metal energy that you discarded last turn. If this all gets set up nicely, then we can get some almost like non-stop repetitive damage going off with the Rapid Blaster. So there are 3 Smeargle in the deck. The last Pokemon, now I have to keep in mind whenever I build the deck, since my stuff is pretty inconsistent, like I'm usually only running, say, 3 at most of a certain card, I have to make sure I have nice draw support, because I don't have as much searching cards, and there is less, the fact that there's not as much consistency in the deck means I am relying on random luck to top deck certain cards. I've got some searching cards in here, but basically I need to keep drawing more cards per turn. So, any time that I cannot have the Scorched Earth ability, Scorched Earth Stadium in play, which is my favorite way to increase my draw support, I have to go ahead and include something else. So I'm going with a couple of Octillery. The Abyssal Hand ability. I love abilities. You see, every Pokemon just about has abilities this time around. Once during your turn before the attack, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. and Hug. Ignore that. We don't even have Water Energy in the deck this week. But Abyssal Hand is why Octillery is here. There are 2 of those and 2 Remoraid to evolve from. That is going to be 15 Pokemon in the deck. And let's scroll down just to the energy. You'll see I've got a nice even split of 7 Lightning, 7 Metal, all basic. No special energy required for this. Now let's talk trainer cards. So since we are losing energy thanks to the Rapid Blaster, if I need to, I do have Energy Retrieval as an option to bring 2 basic energy cards back into hand. I've got an Evo Soda to help evolve up my Pokemon into Magneton or Magnezone, or even Octillery if need be. A couple of Level Balls, and I like the way Level Ball works because it lets me look for Octillery if I need to. Also any other Pokemon of 90 HP or less. 2 Professor's Letters for a couple basic energy right from the deck. 2 Rare Candies to help evolve Magnemite into Magnezone. A couple Super Rods to shuffle back in some cards. Now, a lot of times I like to make use of that thanks to Sycamore and losing some Pokemon from hand perhaps, but this is going to come in really handy after I've used a few of these Rapid Blasters, because once I've discarded some Metal Energy, and then I use Smeargle's ability to swap that with Lightning Energy to the discard pile, I'm going to need to find a way to get Lightning Energy back in hand to use the energy acceleration power of the Magnetic Circuit. So Super Rod can shuffle 3 Lightning Energy back into the deck if I need them. Of course, Pokemon can be shuffled in. It's going to be a situational thing, depending on what I need at the time. Got some Ultra Balls here. Now, what I'm going to probably make use of is use the Metal Energy to discard for getting the Ultra Ball, because as I said, Smeargle allows me to bring Metal Energy back by using the ability and attach it onto an active Pokemon. I've got 2 Versus Seekers, of course, bringing back some supporters I'll be using. One of the first ones is going to be Clement. Search your deck for up to 4 Lightning Energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. If I have Magnezone in play, I can then attach all 4 of them. And if I've got all 3 Smeargle in play, 3 of those could be used to attach a Metal Energy that has been discarded in swapping of the Lightning Energy. So, could immediately power up the Rapid Blaster once again. We've got Lysandre in here, of course, always useful, always mandatory, I would say, switching your opponent's Pokemon around. We have got N, just to sort of make sure I get some decent draw support, since I might not exactly have Octillery in play all the time. N could help me out there, and shuffling my opponent's hand back in as well. I've got a Pokemon Center Lady, basically just to heal up my Genesect, who's going to be the active forefront attacker for the most part. We've got 2 Pokemon Fan Clubs. I'm going with Fan Club instead of Bridget this time, because since we are using a Pokemon EX or 2, this lets me find any 2 basics, whether or not they're EXs, whereas Bridget allows for 1 Pokemon EX or 3 non-Pokemon basics. So this is going to be a little bit more consistent and a little more useful, a little more versatile, I suppose. And I've got just in case, I find Pokemon Ranger is pretty handy. If we find anything, for example, like Jolteon-EX with the, what is that attack? Something, Flash something? I can't remember. But it basically says on your next turn, prevent all effects of it, or all damage done to this Pokemon by basic Pokemon. So, if Genesect-EX is facing one of these Jolteon, I do have the Pokemon Ranger as an option to ignore the ability of, or not, the secondary effect of its attack. We also have Professor Sycamore. Discard my hand to draw 7 more cards. I always like to have 2 Skyla in each of my decks to search for any other trainer card that I would like from my deck, and put it right into hand. Wally is useful to evolve up some Pokemon, except for Pokemon EX, and the only evolving I'm doing this week is non-EX, so that's good. And I wasn't sure what else to really go for. I wanted to have some sort of stadium, if for no other reason than to knock out my opponent's stadium. I decided to go with the Reverse Valley from Breakpoint, so I can play this down and choose which way it goes. The top side of it there, I'm going to point it towards me. It says, any damage done to this player's metal Pokemon by an opponent's attacks is reduced by 10, so a little bit more defensiveness for our Genesect-EX. Only downside is if they're using Dark Pokemon, the Reverse Valley is going to sort of work against me, because that's the opposing side of the battlefield. That player's Dark Pokemon do 10 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon, so it's going to kind of negate the effect. But it might come in handy, and just to make use of the Drive Change ability, I threw a couple of tools in here. I got the Bent Spoon, preventing all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. I have got the Fighting Fury Belt. I did have 2 in here, but I had to take 1 out to add another card. But 2 would be pretty useful. The basic Pokemon this card's attached to gets plus 40 HP, and its attacks do 10 more damage. Very useful. You're going to see a lot of Pokemon EX use the Fighting Fury Belt. And we got a Float Stone just for some free retreat cost. With that Drive Change ability, I can remove whatever tool they have and attach a different one as the situation calls for it. That is going to be the deck for this week. We got 15 Pokemon, 31 trainers, and 14 energy. Let's see how well this crazy strategy of energy acceleration and Smeargle's second coat, swapping metal energy back onto our Genesect-EX, does in this week's Pokemon TCG live online match. Alright, it's time for Genesecticide versus the Elf Pokemon with a water-themed deck. Okay. So they got the nice Primal Kyogre coin. We win the coin flip. Let's take ourselves that first turn and get everything set up we could ever possibly imagine. Not bad. We can lead with the Genesect, and we can drop a Remoraid down. I do have Skyla to find a level ball to find Octillery, which can help me get my draw support immediately in play. A couple Metal Energy here in hand, we can start attaching to the Genesect. Alright, not bad. Not terribly bad whatsoever. We see they're leading with a Froakie. Now we see another Remoraid in hand. I don't want to play it because I want to try to keep the bench minimal. Like the ideal setup is Remoraid, or rather Octillery, and Octillery, Magnezone, and 3 Smeargle. So let's go ahead and play that level ball, grab ourselves Octillery immediately. And since in the standard format there is no real way to get rid of tools, I'm going to put the Fighting Fury Belt to Genesect-EX immediately. And nothing else we can do right now. We're going to end the turn here. Next turn we can play the Octillery and attach a Metal Energy and start using that draw support of the Abyssal Hand. As you see, draw support on the opposing side being Tierno. 3 cards drawn into hand. What are we going to see on the opposing side? Will we see any Pokemon EX? That is a possibility. There we are. Fortunately, most of the time I don't like seeing Glaceon-EX. That Crystal Ray is annoying, but it is not going to bother us because it only blocks damage from evolution Pokemon. Genesect-EX being basic doesn't really apply to that. Plus, it is weak to Metal. Let's go ahead and drop a Metal Energy to Genesect. We will evolve into Octillery. I could play the Remoraid and free up my hand and draw 3 instead of 2, but again, I don't want to fill up the bench too much. Let's do the Abyssal Hand, 2 more cards being drawn. What do we find? Got a Magnemite. We can drop that down. And nothing else we can do at the moment. So, if I can get 1 more Metal Energy, we can start dishing out some decent damage to this Froakie. What I would like is to bring up that Glaceon-EX with the Lysandre and start pummeling away at it. Although it's only going to take 1 hit to bring it down thanks to the weakness. We see a Frogadier now evolved in the active spot. Still going to be one-shot KO'd by a Rapid Blaster though. You can cut me if you want. What is that going to do? 30? And a Kyurem-EX, also weak to Metal. So, 30 damage from cut. Ow! Not terribly much to worry about, though. Alright, we see Magnezone in hand, also very good. Let's go ahead and attach this to the Genesect-EX. We will now use the Abyssal Hand, draw 2 more cards. What do we find? Versus Seeker and a Rare Candy. Though if I had gotten the Rare Candy first, I could have gone right to Magnezone. Skyla, you could help us out here. Let's play the Versus Seeker, grab Skyla. I think what I want to do is grab Sycamore using her now. Let's do that. Skyla, find me a Sycamore, please. I could also grab N. But you know what? The opponent's hand is not super good as it is. They only got 5 cards. I think Sycamore next turn is the way to go. We'll pass the turn back. Now, if they keep doing 30 damage to our Genesect, I'm not really that interested in taking damage. And they can start powering up things on their bench, too. But we just need 1 more Metal Energy, which we have a decent chance to get when we use Sycamore. And a Rough Seas has now been played. And Delinquent. Oh, I gotta lose some cards. Oh no! Well, there goes the Remoraid, there goes the Rare Candy, and I guess the Super Rod. We can go ahead and play the Magnezone, and then Sycamore our empty hand away, get 7 new cards. So you tried to mess me up a little bit with that Delinquent, but we saw through. We played decently. But I don't like this Glaceon-EX. Oh, it's going to do more damage with Second Bite. So that would do 60. It's going to do 80 damage with a Second Bite. Alright then. Now, we'll go to Magnezone. What if I should Sycamore first, or use Octillery? I'm going to use Octillery. Use the Abyssal Hand, first of all. What do we find? 3 more cards. We've got Reverse Valley. Will they have another Delinquent? I don't know. What I want to do is play the Reverse Valley, just to be safe. We will flip things around and take less damage with our metal types. And I want to Versus Seeker for Skyla. I want to grab a Metal Energy out of the deck. I'm going to use her, of course, to find a Professor's Letter. There is one right here. That's going to get me a Metal Energy, and I think I'm going to also grab a Lightning. One of each. I can attach 1 Metal Energy for the regular attachment from hand per turn, and then use Magnetic Circuit, attach this Lightning Energy as well. Now then, I I've already used Skyla, my supporter, so I can't use Sycamore, but I can go ahead and Rapid Blaster. Don't want to discard anything, I don't need to. I'm doing enough damage as it is. So as I say, they could do 80 damage with the Glaceon-EX. I'll grab myself a prize for that, of course. Metal Energy. Unfortunately, the Curum's going to need a lot more energy attached to be able to hurt the Genesect after we destroy the Glaceon-EX. So then, you can second bite me if you want. They could also go for the Crystal Ray if they get double colorless, but that is not going to do added damage, and it's not going to weaken my, or negate my damage. Oh no, my Valley is gone. I got another one in hand though. And the double colorless, so they can hit me for 70 if they want to. But they should realize if they do the math, they're going to do more damage with second bite. Still not enough to get me knocked out though. And Crystal Ray, 70 damage. Alright. And evolved Pokemon cannot hurt Glaceon-EX next turn. So let's get rid of their Reverse Valley, or sorry, their Rough Seas with the Reverse Valley. I'm going to Ultra Ball, discard a Rare Candy and a Metal Energy, and grab myself a Smeargle. Whereabouts would you be at? We got all three in the deck. Alright. Onto the bench you go, buddy. And now let's make use of the second coat. As you can see here, I'm going to choose to get rid of a Lightning Energy. And from the discard pile, the Metal Energy we just discarded using the Ultra Ball goes right on to Genesect-EX. And you know what? I basically have this in the game, or have this game in the bag. Let's go ahead and just Rapid Blaster. I don't need to do any discarding either, because the weakness is going to double this. It's going to be 220 damage thanks to the Fighting Fury Belt. And we get 2 prizes off of a Glaceon-EX. The only thing left on the opposing side is a Kyurem-EX. It's going to take 3 energy cards to power up to be able to hit me, but due to its weakness, of course, there's nothing it can really do to us. We're going to be able to one-shot it with our Rapid Blaster. So you got the idea of the strategy already in play. I think we might see a forfeit in a moment, unless they have something truly amazing that's going to surprise me. Which could happen, I suppose. But let's wait and see what happens. There you see, you can cycle your Lightning Energy off and get a Metal Energy back. You can also, I didn't even do any discarding, but you could discard Metal Energy to do more damage. And using Magnezone's ability to apply more Lightning Energy onto Genesect, swap it out using your Smeargle. You can keep that Rapid Blaster powered up and doing a lot of damage, even without the weakness considered. Like if it was a neutral hit, I could discard a few energy and do an extra 20 per Metal Energy discarded, and then I can just cycle them back on using Smeargle. So does the Kyurem-EX have anything to help it in the situation? Doesn't look like it. Nothing to do but go for the attack. Let's just get this over with and just see how much power we can get off. Let's get rid of all that Metal Energy. 380 damage. Overkill? Yeah, quite a bit. But there we see Genesect-EX got its damage off, and the idea of cycling energy back on is there. Do we get anything cool for that? We put some evolution cards in play. We were turbocharging our way up. And, oh, good! I can get this challenge done today, too. I want to do some more matches. Whether or not you'll see them remains to be seen. So next up, Genesecticide versus Lash. This one's going to be a little more of a challenge, though, because our Genesect-EX is weak to fire. And we see it's a fire and colorless deck, as Lajush is going to call for the coin flip, and they get the coin flip. So, who is going to go first? Alright, so we can attack on our first turn. Not that it might make a difference. We are going to lead Remoraid. I'm not going to drop the other Remoraid just yet, though. I want to wait and see. Like, I don't want to overload the bench with too many superfluous Pokemon. Let's see what they lead with, and if it's something that we got to worry about, we can always drop another basic. Fennekin! Not too scared of that thing. Now, of course, it could Rare Candy into Delphox, and then Wally into Delphox Break. Flare Witch could power it up much quicker. All that being said, wait, never mind. I was going to drop that Remoraid, but we have a Pokemon Fan Club. So, let's go ahead and grab a Magnemite, and I think we might as well get a Genesect. You know what? If we're going to grab a Genesect, we're going to go full art Genesect-EX. Let's do that. So we're going to drop them both onto the bench. And just in case they have any... Well, hang on. The Team Flare Hyper Gear is no longer standard either, I don't think. But just to be safe, since we do have the option of the Drive Change to remove tools, I'm going to put a Float Stone onto Genesect-EX. We will drop that Professor's Letter, grab a couple of metal out of the deck, and attach one to the Genesect-EX, getting ready for some damage when it gets up to the active spot. And that is all we can go for. I would like to find myself an Octillery if I could, but that remains to be seen if I can get one of those. We see evolution into Braixen. And double colorless. Now it can use the Crackling Ribbon for 30, and they can float stone and retreat for free as well. Now, is there any way we can get more energy? I could have gone ahead and put Max Elixir in this deck to try to, energy accelerate that way. But unfortunately, that is not an option. We're just going to allow the Remoraid to fall. I'm going to drop the other Remoraid down, though. Because if we do happen to get Octillery on the next turn, we will have a Remoraid in play to be able to evolve it immediately. So, you're welcome to go for the KO on Remoraid. I've got enough energy in the hand to power up Genesect-EX. We can do 160. If you do go up into Delphox, do you have 160 HP? I don't think you do. If you do, then we're in a bit of a spot. But you got another Pokemon or two on the bench, another Pokemon or three on the bench, so the game is not going to be over just yet. Do you go for the knockout or do you retreat? Ooh, the Entei could do some damage with the, Burning Roar, but the Combat Blaze could be annoying. They just simply get a knockout on Remoraid. Okay then. Which means our free retreat Floatstone Genesect-EX can come to the active spot. I can retreat if necessary. We're going to drop Metal Energy to the Genesect-EX, and you know what? Let's end. I'm giving my opponent 5 cards. That's fine. I want 6 new cards. We got a Fighting Fury Belt. So, that being the case, let us Drive Change, bring that Floatstone back into hand, and throw a Fury Belt onto our Genesect-EX. Just to reduce some damage, we're going to drop the Reverse Valley, flip it around that way. And we're going to throw the Professor's Letter out, grab a couple more energy. I'm going to go for some Lightning, because if I can get the Magnezone in play, I'll be able to start attaching more Lightning than I can Metal. Let's just go ahead and Rapid Blaster. We'll save the energy on our Genesect-EX. Enough damage is done. Breaks and falls. Now then, this could do, out of the way, 20 plus 20 more, so 60. 120 damage, minus 10. Is it before Weakness Resistance? After Weakness Resistance. Okay, so they can do 110 to me with this Entei if they throw another Fire Energy onto it. Which they've done. And Lugia is added on the bench as well. Oh, they're going to do 20 more. Is that before Weakness Resistance? That was painful. Not a fan of that, but that's okay. We are surviving this one. Let us... What I want to kind of do... I'm going to throw this onto the Genesect-EX. I kind of want a Sycamore. I know I'm losing a lot of decent cards, but some Metal Energy has been discarded. I have the ways to bring it back using Smeargle. Oh, we got ourselves Octillery. Let's go ahead and play Octillery down. Can we get rid of any other cards from hand yet? No, Energy Retrieval is going to bring cards in, so we're going to instead use the Abyssal Hand right now, see what we can find. We've got Evo Soda, nice. I'm going to play that and get Magneton into play. Next turn I can Wally into Magnezone and start the energy acceleration of the Lightning Energy. So, for the time being, we're going to Rapid Blaster and discard 1 Metal Energy, boosting the damage to 120, knocking out Entei. So, we have 220 total HP with that Fighting Fury Belt, which leaves us at 70 HP remaining. Can they do 30 damage with any of these Pokemon? Not quite, unless I got double colorless on the Rapidash, which could very well happen. But it does not. Alright, so, problem is, the agility. If they flip heads, we can't hurt it next turn. They got tails. Excellent, we needed that. So they are slowly whittling away our poor Genesect-EX. Let's go ahead and Wally into Magnezone. And do we need to accelerate the energy right now? Well, I kind of want to do that just to get the cards out of hand, because I want to be able to draw more with the Abyssal Hand. Let's put this onto the Genesect-EX. We will attach the one from hand of the Metal Energy. And Super Rod, what can we shuffle back in? We've got 3 Metal Energy and... Okay, I'm going to Super Rod back in the 2 Lightning and a Remoraid. I'll leave the Metal Energy where they are, because they're going to be more useful there. And now let us Octillery in the Abyssal Hand. Can we find the other Genesect-EX? Nope, we got the other Smeargle, however. So let's use the second coat, get rid of the lightning energy, just because. Just throw some more energy on here, if necessary, which it kind of isn't. But let's just go right on ahead and go for the Rapid Blaster. Just to do some extra damage, we'll throw 2 of those away. And I'm going to do 150, I believe. 150. Now they're going to gain 2 cards for that lucky helmet. But we gain a prize. What I really want to find is the other Genesect-EX. I can use Skyla to find... What could she help me with? Ultra Ball. So we are going to lose this Genesect-EX thanks to, of course, getting 1 fire energy on this Heatmore. It's going to do 40, which is just enough to bring down our... Wait, it's only going to do 30 thanks to the Reverse Valley. I think. If I'm doing the math right. We hung in there. This Genesect-EX is cleaning up. So let's go ahead and Energy Acceleration of the Magnetic Circuit. Throw these 2 lightning energy onto the Genesect-EX. The Lugia cannot do anything to us next turn with only 1 energy being attached. Even a double colorless won't help it. Let's second coat. So here you can see the energy recycling of the metal, and it's not as, I guess, reliable or quick as the Bronzong with the metal links, but it still does the trick. You can get your energy back as need be. And let's just go ahead and do some massive damage. Rapid Blaster. I'll discard 2 more again just because. And down goes the Heatmore. All that's left for the time being is Lugia, which we can easily destroy. Can they get anything else in play? Now, I like this. We're winning against a Fire-type deck, which is our weakness with Genesect-EX. Double colorless, not going to be enough to take us down. Let's just go all out with the Rapid Blaster, discard everything we have because this is the end of the match. And of course, the pressure reduces damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 150, and that is going to be game. Genesect-EX full art pulls through and wins that fight. We got some more. We got some cut down. We've completed the challenge. Yes, experience points for the medal. Do we get anything for that? Not quite. We're just about there. I might want to do that a little bit more off screen though. And that's that. So that is going to wrap up this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online matches, number 57, featuring Genesect-EX and the power of the Rapid Blaster, plus the energy recycling of Smeargle with the second coat and the energy acceleration of Magnezone with that magnetic circuit. So this worked out pretty well. I was concerned it wouldn't work as well as it was doing in testing, because of course when you do testing, the computers don't have Pokemon EX, and what's really annoying is they use the expanded format, whereas I was using just standard. So I was putting tools on Genesect-EX. They were using Startling Megaphone and Zero Sick getting rid of my tools, and I was like, come on, man, I'm testing in standard. But anyway, that is a good idea, or a good example of how you can see the energy manipulation of all these Pokemon in play, and a sort of a standard way to make use of Genesect-EX, since Bronzong with the Metal Links is no longer standard legal. So feel free to leave a like down below, folks, if you enjoyed this week's Pokemon battles in the episode, and feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the deck that I've built, any suggestions you have for improvements, so that if anybody out there wants to try to recreate this idea for themselves, any suggestions you have for more consistency and more improvements could come in handy. What could we do just off the top of our heads? I'm not sure. Clement, I don't really use that much because I have other ways to get energy, so he might be able to be swapped out for something else. And, what else could you do? I don't know, maybe the tools aren't as necessary. I kind of just wanted to include the tools, though, so I can make use of Genesect-EX's ability, because I love abilities. It's one of my favorite things in Pokemon TCG, and the ability to remove a tool and put a new tool on instead once per turn is pretty cool. Anyway, that is going to, as I say, wrap up this week's video. So if there's any cards from the Fates Collide expansion, nope, that's the older one. If there's any cards from the Steam Siege expansion you'd like to see me use for next week's video, feel free to leave that in a comment down below as well, and I'll see what I can do about assembling a decent strategy for next week. And also feel free to let me know if there's any cards from any other previous expansions you'd like to see me make a deck around as well. I could possibly come up with a decent standard legal strategy, for example, that doesn't work now, much like the Genesect-EX with the Bronzong and Metal Links. All that being said, I want to say once again, thanks for checking out today's episode, everybody, and come on back next week for some more Pokemon TCG action with whatever cards you'd like to see me use. Until then, Professor Chaz is signing off, and I'll catch you next time.